now today we are going to discuss about the surface marking of the inguinal canal, the deep ring, superficial ring, inguinal canal. We'll discuss about the inguinal hernia as well as the femoral hernia, some basic differences. Okay, let us begin. So now we have to mark a point at point number 1 is what is this our anterior superior iliac spine. Point number 2 is our pubic tubercle. Between these two lies our inguinal ligament. A point between these 2 points, that is called as the midpoint of the inguinal ligament. Next, just 1.2 centimeters above this point. So 1 centimeters. This is 1 inch. 1.2 roughly around here. Just roughly around little above. Little bit either. Okay, 1.2 centimeters above the mid-inguinal point. This is our deep inguinal ring. Now this is pubic tubercle. Okay, what is the superficial ring location?
Just above the pubic tubercle.
Above and little medial. So above and medial, this is our one more ring. So connecting these 2 points, this is the deeper ring, this is the superficial ring. This is the about our roughly around 4 centimeters. This is our inguinal canal. Now, in case of inguinal hernia, the swelling will be there above and medial to the pubic tubercle. Now, here there will be inguinal ligament. Below this thing, around here we got our femoral ring. Below and lateral to this point we got our femoral ring. Okay, so above and medial, if the swelling occurs, we call that as the inguinal hernia. Below and little lateral, we call that thing as the inguinal hernia. This is our femoral hernia. Inguinal hernia most commonly occurs in males. It occurs in both males and females, but most commonly occurs in males. Similarly, femoral hernia also occurs in both males and females, but is most common in case of the females, because in females the femoral ring, the medial most compartment of femoral sheath is wider in females. Okay, and wide because of the wider pelvis. So that is why femoral hernia is common in females as well as, but inguinal hernia is common in males. Now again in inguinal hernia, okay, so the spermatic cord from the deep ring to the superficial ring along with the testis, and from here to the root of this scrotum, ultimately it will descend into this scrotum. This is the descent of the testis. If it stucks anyway around this path, it results in the condition called cryptorchidism, undescended testis, or it lies anywhere in between these two. Okay, now again inguinal hernia is further divided into direct hernia and indirect hernia. Indirect hernia is through the deep ring and enter from the superficial ring, and then it comes out, that is indirect hernia. Now direct hernia occurs through the Eshelbach's triangle. What are the boundaries of Eshelbach's triangle?
Laterally it is bounded by rectus abdominis, lateral border of rectus abdominis.
So laterally it is bordered by the lateral border of rectus abdominis. We call it as linea semilunaris. Next.
Medially it is bounded by inferior epigastric artery.
Yes, we got femoral vessels over here, and the branches of femoral, the external iliac vessel, that is called as the inferior epigastric artery is one more boundary.
Its base is formed by inguinal ligament.
The base is actually formed by the inguinal ligament. These are the boundaries of our Eshelbach's triangle. Okay?
And umbilical ligament.
And median umbilical ligament will divide this median into 2 components. Okay? So herniation through this, it is the direct inguinal hernia. Through the indirect ring, and then through the deep ring, and then to the superficial ring, that will receive our indirect inguinal hernia. Below and lateral to the pubic tubercle is our femoral hernia. So like this we can differentiate whether it is indirect inguinal hernia or direct inguinal hernia or the femoral hernia. That's all. Thank you.